Hey, I'm Kim.
And I'm Pancho, and you're listening to Now That You See It, a show that will ruin you for boring conversations forever.
It's about the invisible stuff that shapes how we think and connect those, oh, wait, what? Moments that change how you perceive the world around you.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Hey
Kim,
Pancho.
how's it going?
Wait, before we start, if I'm gonna stare at your shirt all day with the microphone in front of it, and so as anybody who's gonna listen to us, we gotta get that full view. Destroy.
Seek and destroy. So
Tell us what this is.
the back
Your
is a
BBL.
technical. No, I did not get a Brazilian butt lift. Terrible inside joke that nobody else is going to understand. But the shirt is uh, it's about the ego.
Huh.
And so the idea that you need to destroy the ego
hmm
to, I mean, to connect with people. And so it's actually from a gym that is now closed. It was a gym in Salt Lake that blended, like used exercise as a way to explore our psychology. So, it's just the kind of gym where you go until it really, really hurts. And then the coach goes, okay, as you are contemplating giving up, notice what is the conversation that you are having with yourself as you consider whether you're going to give up or not. Not hypothetically, not like in your lived experience right now that you're breathing out your eyeballs. And so, yeah, that's the message of
Wait,
the shirt.
can you tell us more about me? I'm very curious about this gym and how
Yeah.
how long were you with it? How many conversations did you have with yourself at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ego
So
at the end?
I never attended this gym because I've never lived in Salt Lake. Um, the gym was called Nonprofit, like non-profit, Prophet,
Oh, in
and
in Salt Lake.
in Salt Lake. Sure, yeah. And
Loving this.
yeah, and so it was founded by two gentlemen who are both philosophers in their own right, but they make a living in the world of health and fitness. Um, and one of them was kind of on the one of the first wave of light and fast alpine mountaineers who did away with like big mountain siege tactics where you have, dozens of Sherpas carry your shit to base camp and then you set up more and more base camps and use oxygen bottles and you have, tents every, 1,500 feet up the mountain and
Mm.
instead going really light and fast, like a 35-pound backpack and doing the mountain in one day with just what you got and what your body's able to do. So he did that for a long time, and then he decided a lot of his friends had died doing that, and he was ready to stop doing that and not continue, risking his life. So he started doing, yeah, he like went into the world of fitness and helped people develop their fitness using, again, like the lived experience of high alpine mountaineering uh isn't just working out, like going to a gym and, picking heavy things up, putting them down. It is an environment where you're having to manage yourself, your emotions, state of mind, your thoughts, and, actively risk manage to stay alive. So he brought a lot of that kind of thinking to, his gym.
Whoa,
And
cool.
and they had a blog and they had a podcast, and I think they dissolved earlier this year, but I was a big fan
You
while they
got the
were
t-shirt.
up and running. I got the t-shirt. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you got
Cool.
it. Yeah.
So what else is going on in your life besides seeking and
Uh,
destroying the ego?
it's a good reminder, right? It's also a great conversation
I want that
starter.
shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Um, yeah. I'm doing a deep dive on certainty. It's
Mm.
something that I did yoga teacher training almost 15 years ago. And as I was doing that, just researching a lot of different, like researching yogic philosophy, as somebody in my mid 20s, talking with a lot of other people in their mid 20s, I started to notice that most of the conversations I had with people about what they were challenged by had something to do with a craving for certainty that they just couldn't fulfill. They wanted to know, right? I just want to know, like, does he like me or does he not? Or, if I move to this other city, will I be happy or will I not? Like, so this craving for certainty about things you just can't know. And unless you go and try to find out, but you can't just sit here and think your way into more certainty about them. And so since then, the way I thought about it was like the human condition craves certainty.
Mm.
And I'm doing that right now. I'm doing a deeper dive on that, both at the philosophical and psychological level. And I see it everywhere I go,
Yeah,
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's like, it's just part and parcel of how we are. We crave certainty. We generally avoid the unknown as dangerous or at least uncomfortable. And I think that sometimes that's helpful. A lot of the times it isn't. I wouldn't say it's unhelpful. Maybe sometimes it is. It's just not real, right? This paradigm that we can live in a certain world and that certainty is good. When you actually go and look at what it would look like to be fully certain about everything in your life, it'd be really fucking boring. And you would very quickly be left, asking for a surprise, for something fun that you didn't see coming around the corner.
Totally.
So that's what I'm
Yeah. I
mostly
mean,
engrossed with right now.
if we're going to talk today about this like friendly universe theory,
Yeah.
and truly, like, if I ascribe to any spirituality and religion, it's, the westernized Buddhism as it's come to be known and sort of like absorbed in my world. The fundamental theory being that like nothing is permanent, everything is impermanence, and suffering is clinging to what is impermanent, thinking it is permanent, and that
Hmm.
like the suffering is trying to make something that is fundamentally uncertain, life, all of this, certain, and then being constantly disappointed when it changes, when something is shown to be right, impermanent, changing, uncertain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. My favorite characterization of that, because I mean, like, life is suffering is pretty fucking metal, when you think about it. It's not like it doesn't make you feel
eh,
good. Um, but
it's
another
pretty
way of
fucking
saying
metal.
it
I'm
is
gonna
like
steal that.
it's like another way of saying it is like the inevitability of undesired events,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like there's stuff you don't want to happen that's going to happen and you're going to be pissed off about it. That's just part of being a human being. But yeah.
for sure. And I mean, it's no wonder so many, I don't know, both, um, it's so uncomfortable to sit in uncertainty. There's no wonder that so many religions have been, I don't know, sprung up and bloomed around creating things that make people feel comfortable in like somebody's in charge. There is a certainty. Da, da. That's cool. I can't wait to have this conversation today. It's gonna be so fun.
Awesome. Yeah. What about you? What's anything in your life these days that,
Yeah.
you saw it and it's just everywhere and you can't unsee it?
Well, it's funny. I wanted to ask you how being so deep diving into uncertainty has changed you on your day to day. So maybe we can come back to that. But like now, my brain is in the groove of uncertainty, and yeah, I mean, I have. It's been a, I don't know, sort of a companion idea for me for a very long time of just seeing how much like I am so fundamentally like childhood on. Like I was, Pancho, I don't even know if you know this. My first job out of college for 2 years, I was an actuary.
Hmm.
Do you know what that is? An
I
actuary?
Something in my brain is saying it has to do with death, but I don't know
Yes.
if I'm correct. Like, what is an actuary?
It is. Yes. It is putting probabilities to events. It is predicting things like
insurance
death
companies.
for the Social Security Administration, for insurance companies. So I was working for a life insurance company and trying to predict. Well, I was on the stock market side, and so trying to predict from a financial perspective what's going to happen. This was like 2008, and the stock market was just like tumbling. And so our scenarios were like, what if the world explodes tomorrow, or like the S&P drops by 500, or da, 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 da. The scenarios were wild, but it was putting precise numbers on cataclysmic and chaotic events. And I studied for like 2.5 years, nonstop, 6 exams, or just like increasing levels of math. I mean, these were like you're taking the bar exam every 6 months. Anybody out there who's ever done the actuary thing, like God bless you. It is a trip. 6 months at a time taking to study for this exam. And it is all about calculations around uncertainty and putting very precise numbers to it. It was wild. And so I come from that. That was like very normal to me. I was an econ major. I was a math major. I'm in a medicine family. Da da da. And yeah, that was my religion, was math for a very very long time. I'm like, you can predict anything. Bayesian theorems. I can tell you a whole lot about that, but for sure, math was my religion, and I've since evolved. So still retain some of it, but the I think what's in terms of like what is present for me right now, this uncertainty and sort of controlling and containing uncertainty has always been part of me. Now it's seeing how ludicrous that is. Like it truly is. And I like this will be a topic we'll, I'm sure, uncover or cover in lots of our podcasts coming up in these check-ins, but I'm going through a separation at home, and that is nothing but uncertainty. It is nothing but just wave the white flag, surrender, and surrender in not a weak way, in a like the kindest thing I can do for myself next is to stop fucking fighting. What is happening? What is inevitable? Just like reality. See reality for what it is. And the reality is I don't have control over other people, over many circumstances. And one thing I'd love to get into at some point in this friendly universe theory is the extent to which we do have agency and authority over actions and decisions. And like in the micro, what is part of like not control, but just preparedness or rational, reasonable, I don't know, whatever the word. I'm fascinated to hear what your take on this is going to be, because this is a balance. Like you could go full, like the world is chaos, don't bother, and just sort of like sit like a bump on a log and be like, hammer me, universe, world, just do whatever you want. And you could over control and just spin your wheels in that. And there's some in between, I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah. 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 So I'm hearing that the surrender you're talking about is more in line with acceptance than it is with defeat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A really beautiful, like life-giving kind of surrender, but no less painful than the defeat kind. It still
Sure.
hurts. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going to get into some really, so I'm glad that I mean, we didn't prepare for this conversation. We just, I threw it out and now we're doing it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. So yeah, I mean, let's get started. What is you mentioned you believe we live, on a previous episode, you mentioned you believe we live in a friendly universe.
Yeah.
What does that mean when you say
My
that?
gosh, I am so glad I'm not a famous influencer who got like clipped on that statement, and then I have to like live by it for forever. I'm so glad that we get to spend a whole episode digesting and dissecting what that actually means. The influencer life is just not for me. The millions of followers. So here's like this is going to evolve over the episode. By the end of the episode, I'm going to be like, I have figured it out. There's going to be a thesis at the end. So stick around, because I'm sure that will happen. But as of right now, the sort of opening statement that I've got is, I truly believe humans, as like we have evolutionarily evolved, settle best when unencumbered a in a stable, warm nervous system state, a regulated nervous system state, and seek that. And we seek that through all kinds of things. It doesn't always make sense, or it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always work out well for the long term. Like there is inevitable struggle and pain that people have to get through to like achieve true like baseline nervous system stuff. Like all the stuff that your podcast people who own a gym are talking about. Yes, you have to train your nervous system through challenge and like adaptation. Blah, blah, blah. But broadly, I believe not that life is nasty, brutish, and short as like a resting characteristic. Like the system doesn't settle to that. I believe that unencumbered by delusions, illusions, emotional fog, like us at our best selves. And this is all like a ton of high bar conditions. Like this is not really the real world.
Yeah.
But unencumbered by this stuff, I believe we settle on and prefer these states of connectiveness, of interdependence. And to the extent we are not in those, there's something inside of us that is preventing us from finding that and seeking it out. And that when I say universe, I sort of mean it as shorthand for I'm going to say force. I don't mean like necessarily a true independent spiritual force. But I think in like systems theory, the like property of the emergent property of the system to tend towards peace when unencumbered. And I've just experienced this in my life, and other people have as well, that man, sometimes I feel like I just have to repeat the same lesson over and over and over again. And I will say something like, wow, the universe is really testing me, or the universe is really wanting me to get this because I seem to need this lesson in increasing intensities over and over again. As a burnout coach, we talk all the time about your body will whisper, then it'll speak, and then it'll shout. And these like escalations of you are on notice, or here is an opportunity, choose it if you want. And if you don't, it'll probably come back again because it is, when I say it is meant for you, I just mean the sense of like profound interconnectedness and peace in connection, broadly defined, is meant for all of us. And what makes it unique at the human level is we all have different ways of like experiencing that. And so like you as a human nervous system are going to resonate with certain experiences more than others. And the healthiest ones are the ones that over time are really going to sustain a regulated nervous system and like bring about a compelling magnetic energy that connects you to other experiences that align with you. So that's sort of my friendly universe take, is that there is a like interconnected force, but it's not the like capital F force that we use for, I don't know, true spirituality, true woo. Sort of the emergent properties of the system, to get all mathy speak. That's my opening statement. So
Wow.
And like at some point we'll come back to synchronicities and weird things that do happen. But,
my air purifier is freaking out. Give me a sec.
yeah. I noticed it.
Yeah, you did. Okay,
the stuff I was spewing, it was like disagree, must purify.
Yeah. Air purifier.
Get that shit out of here.
You don't get to be a part of this conversation. Yeah, no,
What's your take on it?
I'm going to reduce what you said to the level of absurdity.
Right.
To try to understand if I picked up what you're putting down. Not to make fun of you. There was a point also when like the first moment you said the Force and my brain went to Star Wars and I smiled and I was like, I need to stop smiling. This is
bring on the smile. This is good energy. Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say is, if you are the Buddha or Jesus Christ, if you're some like version of a fully enlightened, actualized human being, your drive, your impetus will be to live a good life, to have healthy relationships, to do things that are good for your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And you will tend towards things like resilience, adaptability, joy. So that's reducing it in, like taking it to a really,
Yeah.
really basic level of simplicity. What am I getting right, or what am I missing in saying that?
Well, thanks for asking that. Well, the thing I'd add on is it's reciprocal, symbiotic, exponential to the extent that we are connected. And so meaning like if you walk into, I don't know, a group of people, a crowd, a coffee shop, and you are like heads down with your headphone, furrowed brows, and just like moving really fast and just like clipped, clipped, clipped. I heard one time that you can tell the difference between somebody who lives on the East Coast and West Coast by how they like, do you know the order for your coffee as soon as you get up to the line? And if you don't, do you like step aside so somebody can come in? Whereas West Coasters are like, I don't know. And so if you've got like East Coast energy coming in and, you know, it's intense, people will respond to you. Like they will pick up on that. And that will, in little micro moments, spiral throughout their days and the people they interact with. And not that like it's a little butterfly effect, but not to, main character syndrome yourself. But you do affect other people. One does affect the people they're around. If you're coming in with open shoulders and like just like eyes open, you really are like not pinpointing visually, but like seeing things. Smiles, eye contact. People will also respond to that and it feels fucking good. Especially in like, oh my God, everything's online, nothing like da da da. In person, that kind of eye contact, bam, that is a drug and is a good drug, and it's oxytocin. I really do believe that that spirals outward in a true physiological, biological sense. And so it's what you said plus the reciprocity of what happens when that kind of system interacts with other systems, the co-regulation.
Yeah. Okay. So how does that translate up to a statement like, we live in a friendly universe?
Wow, you're good. For me, it's my shorthand that like when we set the armor down, we tend towards warmth, friendliness, generosity, open-heartedness. I think that's my thesis statement.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. When you said on a call a while back that we lived in a friendly universe, there are a lot of people out there who have a framework of spirituality that essentially supplants the god of a religion for something more secular, right? For the entity that
Yeah.
God, like in a worldview that has some degree of spirituality, the throne of God, you take God off that throne and you put a friendly universe on that throne instead. And that's what I took it to mean, in much the same way that like the turn of phrase, the universe is conspiring on your behalf.
Mm.
Right. My reaction to that is I have no way of knowing. Like I can understand how that would be a useful belief for somebody to have. And it would help them live their lives more easily, maybe gives them some degree of, gives them a framework within which they can operate. But when I look at it from a purely epistemological perspective, trying to understand, is this true about the world? There's just no way to verify that. There's no way to, like go out and test whether we literally live in a universe that's friendly, that's conspiring on our behalf. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, on today's call, right? Like, let's explore this and figure
Yeah.
out what you
Okay.
mean.
Yeah. Because now I want to know where you're coming from. So, Mr. Uncertainty, tell us, why is it important to be able to verify and test things?
I don't know that it is.
Mm.
I'll say for me personally. Okay, here's why. And it comes back to actually what you just said. Additionally, it is important to verify and test things. So if you come to me and I'll actually give you a true story. In my time in yoga teacher training, I bumped up against somebody who would always bring this very esoteric belief system to a conversation as if it was fact. This also happens with people who are deeply religious.
Mm.
And it's totally fine for anybody to believe what they want. But in a conversation, which is a interaction between two different minds, two different people, when one of them communicates under the assumption that what they believe is objectively true, they're not actually connecting with the other person. They are
Mhm.
seeing the other person through the lens of their belief. And as me being the other person, I was left feeling unseen. I was left feeling unconsidered.
Mm.
When this person from my yoga days asked me why I didn't want to prioritize alchemical transformation as the most important thing to do with my life, I didn't even know what the fuck she meant when she said alchemical transformation, right? So
Oh
she
my
was
gosh.
relating
Yoga.
right past me.
Yeah.
There was no effort made to understand my belief system, my perspectives, my values, and then to figure out a way for the two of us to find a shared language, shared paradigms, or to at least understand each other's paradigms well enough to speak to them.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it's important. For the same reason that you said, this tendency towards positivity, towards a positive lived experience is reciprocal, almost like ripples out
Yeah.
and perpetuates itself. You can't do that if you're not seeing the person in front of you as
Totally.
they want to be seen and understood, because the lens you have on misinterprets them and casts them into some role and, makes it very clear to them that whatever your lens is, whatever your belief system is more important to you than actually connecting with them.
Yeah. 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 This is reminding me of that Mark Andreessen quote of strong opinions loosely held.
Mm,
Like, have strong opinions, but like hold them, let them be broken. Like, do the work to have an opinion, and then also allow it to be open, shaken, changed
right, right.
by whoever's in front of you.
Yeah. So I think that's why it's important to me. Uh, I
Yeah.
don't, I don't know that, I don't know that there's much we can know for sure, right? I could know for sure that I am having a lived experience. Like consciousness is happening, and
Yeah.
and I can know for sure that the evidence indicates we're all going to die.
Yeah.
Uh, that kind of fact, right? Or mathematical, coming back to math, like 1 + 1 is
Yeah.
2, except in some weird shit that, like happens at very high levels of math where 1 + 1 might not equals 2. And I'm just, talking about that
Right.
hypothetically, but I know that that kind of stuff is out there. Um, Beyond those things, beyond logic, mathematics, and things that are seemingly irrefutable, everything is up for debate. Everything has some degree of uncertainty to it.
Mm.
And and so I'm okay with people uh I'm okay with not having to know, but if somebody is going to approach something as being capital T true,
I get you. I get you.
If they are going to, like, so for me, the importance is recognize that this isn't capital T truth, capital T true. And if they approach it as such, then it makes it more difficult for the two of us to connect on a human to human level because they're somewhere else. They're living in another reality compared with mine. I am willing to accept that they are living in that reality, but for somebody with a lot of conviction, it's much harder to say, oh, this thing that I am really convicted about may not be true. And that, like setting that aside, even hypothetically, allows me to connect with you
Totally.
on a level playing field.
Okay, so let me rephrase it, because it sounds like for you, it's not that like everything needs to be verifiable about like big theories. Got to be verifiable. Can we test it? Which I have. When I heard that, I was like, oh God, I got opinions about that. I got resistance coming up about that. Oh man. But that like, if someone were to be like, this is the truth, and you're going to be like, show your work, bro. Like, where? How do you know that? But if somebody comes up and says, this is sort of like the framework of life I operate in, take it or leave it, but this is where I am, then it sounds like you're like, sounds good.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
you.
Yeah. And if they show their work, I'm happy to jump on board. Right. But if they don't show their work and they require me to jump on board to have a meaningful interaction, then I'm not willing to jump on board. And well, like, I just kind of see that as a shame. It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
It's,
I think we can give you the like Pancho Gomez, least likely to join a cult award. Pretty much.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm pretty cult resistant, cult resilient. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good quality. How has, when you sort of like, I don't know, go about your day-to-day life with the idea, I think you had said this before we started recording, but if there's any theory you ascribe to, it's optimistic nihilism. Nihilism?
Mhm.
How do you pronounce it? Is it
Yeah.
nihilism or nihilism?
Nihilism. Yeah.
Nihilism.
Yeah.
What does that look like? And how is that different from either like the people around you? Like, when do you notice it the most of like, oh, I think really differently about stuff, or than this friendly universe theory?
Mm. Foundationally, I think it comes back to, I mean, same thing about certainty. We said we were going to do an episode about certainty another time, and here we are having an episode about certainty.
I knew it. It's all a big melange.
We tell ourselves a lot of stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's inevitable, to have a narrative about ourselves and the universe and the people in our lives and what has happened and what that means and what it means about what's important to us and what we want to do moving forward. So I think that those stories are hard to verify.
Mm-hmm.
They could be so. Derek Sivers, I don't know. Derek Sivers has, like, is it useful, useful or true? I think, or something along those lines. He wrote a book, which is on my short list, basically exploring, is it important for an idea or a concept or a belief to be true, or is it important for it to be useful? And on the useful side of things, sure, like we need that. I think if we went about our lives with no stories and no narratives about what things were, what they meant, we would just fail to operate. We wouldn't be able to, like, do the most basic daily tasks. I tend to look at things really big picture a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot when I sit down and think about things like religion or like free will I usually come to agree with a theory that leads most people to say, well, then what's the point? Like, why don't we just go and off ourselves? Or why is it worthwhile to do anything? Why are we even here? Why does anything exist at
Yeah.
all? And so I come to nihilism. And a lot of the time when I research things, there's always like this allergic reaction to nihilism. Like, okay, yeah, we've reasoned our way into this conclusion, but whoa, like before you think this means nihilism is true, think about this or consider this other option as like almost like a pressure release valve for nothing means anything and it's all just chaos and we're here for no particular reason and then it's all
Right.
over. Um, and I'm actually okay with nothing means anything and everything is chaos and we're here for no particular reason and then it's all over.
Yeah.
And maybe there's more, but who fucking knows for sure? Like, how are you going to find out if there's something that happens after you die? For sure, for everybody. Or how are you going to find out if somebody or something actually created the universe or not? And whether it's compatible with Big Bang Theory or not, whatever, like something could have still created that. You can't know these things. And it'd be cool if we could, but we can't. And usually it's those big picture concepts that we use to answer the questions of what gives life meaning or why am I here? So when you just, in philosophy, we call suspend judgment. When you basically say, I don't know that this is either true or false, we don't have adequate evidence for it, so we're going to suspend judgment. When you suspend judgment on a lot of those big picture questions, that can pull the rug out from people's feet and leave them feeling like there's nothing there.
Oh,
And
it's super uncomfortable.
yeah, and so Trungpa Rinpoche called it, a quote I discovered recently was, the bad news is that you are in free fall with no parachute. The good news is there's no ground.
Oh, wow. I love that. Man, that's a good one.
And that's what it is. Yeah, like there is no solid footing to stand on. But you're not going to go splat. And so the whole point of it is to be okay with just being in perpetual free fall and not having that certainty of I'm standing on solid ground. And then you're basically fucking flying. Like that's kind of where my brain goes. Is like, this is wonderful. I get to be a human being. I don't need for there to be an answer about what the meaning of life is. Like, I get to have the experience of being me. And when you look at that on its own, that is infinitely valuable. Even in a world full of, like sadness and crisis and, like it's also a world with a blue sky and smiles and, like the sound of children laughing. So I think that is what I would say is my stance on this kind of thing and why I call myself an optimistic nihilist.
Mm-hmm.
Nihilism doesn't inherently mean there's no point to living. It just means I'm not going to hold on to a story about what the point of life is. And I'm instead just going to be really happy and grateful for the fact that I get to live and have an experience rather than, like that I get to be something rather than nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us more about the optimistic part of this 2-word philosophy of life. So optimistic nihilism, I get the nihilism part and how that plays out, what that feels like. Because the nihilism by itself, what is keeping you from jumping off a bridge? It's the optimistic part. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I really like being alive. Like,
Yeah.
I want to have more experiences. I want to connect with more people.
Yeah.
I want to understand more about what it's like of being a human being.
Mm.
And if I go and jump off a bridge,
Can't do
then
it.
I can assure myself that's, it's very likely at least, I'm not going to get to keep doing that. So I think that would be the, like the optimistic side of it. It would be that
Mhm.
like this is worthwhile. Um, a John Muir quote comes to mind. John Muir
Mhm.
was talking about, it's from my first summer in the Sierra. He is in the Sierra Nevada for the first time, and he comes across poison oak, and he talks about how most people hate poison oak. And he said, most people would ask why. And John Muir, I think he ascribed to some system of spirituality. I think from what I've read, it sounds like a lot like what Emerson
I was
believed.
gonna say it's transcendentalism, right?
Transcendentalism.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so Muir talks like a transcendentalist. There is some deity, but it's not the Abrahamic God.
Mhm.
And so he talks about how, um, you know, people will ask why the creator brought poison oak into existence in the first place. And they never ask themselves, maybe just for its own sake.
Mm.
And I think yeah, that's it. It's just like, this is worthwhile for its own sake, not for some ultimate purpose or some grand life mission, or because you need to feel like you're going to leave a legacy, you're going to make your
Mm.
mark on, like whatever, uh just because you get to be alive. That's worthwhile on its own.
Yeah. How have you changed as this has become more of a conscious philosophy for you?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
I'm assuming as like an 8-year-old, you weren't like, I'm going to be an optimistic nihilist when I grow up.
No. um yeah, I've changed. I have a few thoughts on it. I think I am a little less fit for society.
You're my kind of people.
Like um I think it's easier for me to, if with that, it's easier for me to see the way that our culture ascribes to other belief systems that create a sense of certainty or that create a sense of purpose or meaning. Religion is one. Capitalist consumerism is another.
Hmm.
Or, like neoliberalism, the idea that like, if you work hard enough, you will succeed. And, like you got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps. We live in that water, but it's
Yeah.
not fucking true. It's just what everybody operates on.
Yeah.
And it can work to your advantage in some situations, but it can also lead to a really miserable existence in others. So in that sense, I kind of, I have a harder time connecting with some people who are really steeped in a belief system and like really live it to their core and can't find it in themselves to step outside of it. Um, that makes me less fit for society because there are large swaths of individuals that I'm just a little less compatible with. I can still talk to them and I can still get curious about them, but it's harder for them to see me as I am because I don't fit inside of their worldview.
Yeah.
Or if I fit in their worldview, I am cast as some sort of archetype that isn't actually who I am. Um,
Your next t-shirt needs to be like acquired taste, not for everyone.
yeah, quite possibly. So that makes, yeah, that's how I'm less fit for society. I think this is true and it's also not true. I'm a little more resilient
Mm.
in that I'm more resilient in that I have expectations that I recognize. I'm like, that was just an expectation. I can let it go. Like things didn't work out. Like, who am I to say how reality is going to turn out? So I'm able to hold the whole experience of being a person and coming back to attachments a little more loosely. But I also fucking trick myself and con myself into, for example, anxiety. I've been doing a lot of research. Anxiety and uncertainty go hand in hand.
Mm.
And some people embody their anxiety. It is like in them, it comes out of them, it dominates, like it dictates how they communicate. If you enter the room and they are steeped in their anxiety, you like it oozes off of them. I also have anxiety, but my anxiety, like I've been like, no, anxiety is a thing that often doesn't work for us and blah, blah, blah. But I do fucking have anxiety. And when that anxiety comes up, I distract myself from it. And I'm like, no, like, like everything is fine. And so I notice I'll have moments where anxiety gets the volume turned up to 11. I'm like, there it is. I am somebody who sometimes deals with anxiety. But what I'm coming to suspect is that anxiety is always there. And I've just developed ways to like mind fuck myself into ignoring it, even though it's not gone. And to instead like numb or not care. And so that numbing, that not caring can show up as like, equanimity. I'm okay with life however it turns out. But there might still be a part of me that's not, and I'm not recognizing it. And then finally, something I've noticed is I believe things are true, and I live my life as if that's not the case.
What?
Right.
That's just like our opener. It's like, what? Say more about that.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with the idea of determinism?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you
other
know
people
about
might not
determinism?
be.
Before I wax eloquent, what's your understanding of determinism?
Things are the meant to be conversation. Like there's a path that's like determined, and there's I don't know, free choice is sort of an illusion.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's like a really great shorthand. And there are different. Yeah. Good job.
I spent 1 year at Villanova before I transferred schools as a philosophy major. I have 1 year of the shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I was also an econ major and I was a philosophy minor. So maybe
my
this
God.
is why our brains work.
Yeah.
Work well together. So there are different flavors of determinism. Maybe another way of putting it, different levels of severity of, how all encompassing determinism is. And you start with like light determinism. And the idea is that there are some things that precede the next thing and the next thing. And that's how the universe works, right? Like something needs to follow from something else in a way that makes sense, not in a way that's chaotic and random. The way in which it compromises free will is hard determinism. Literally everything that happens couldn't have, and I have a very nuanced understanding of hard determinism, and I don't know if it's perfectly academic or in line with what other people would say hard determinism is, but I've thought about it for years. And the way that I put it is back to the beginning of time, whatever that looks like. Something happened. And after that, anything that happened it was contingent on what happened before it. All the way through to the present moment. So whatever happens in the moment is contingent on the moment right before it.
Totally. Yep.
And the way that one could look at it from a mathematical perspective is you have some infinitely large formula with variables in the formula.
Mm-hmm.
And that formula spits out whatever's going to happen next at the universal level, right? In any split second in time, in the entire universe, one set of events will come to pass. That set of events is predetermined by taking the fixed known events that have already happened right before it, and you plug those values into the formula. So you plug the values into the formula, and the formula spits out what happens next. There's only one fucking set of events that has happened all the way back to the beginning of time. And so necessarily, there's only one thing that could happen next. There's only one way the present moment could turn out in the next moment.
Yeah.
And so my shorthand for it is it couldn't have happened any other way.
Ooh.
The way things turned out, and it's not forward looking. It has nothing to say about what's going to happen in the future. It just says that events as they come to pass couldn't have happened any other way, including what you think, or what you decide to do, or what your preferences are, because there is a history to who you are that extends beyond when you were born, and all of those events play into the person you are right now. And the person you were a second ago determines what you're going to think, do, see, feel, etc. in the next moment. So it completely removes any room for the agency of free will.
It's wild. That is.
There's only one way things could turn out.
There's a like a really popular book out about this right now. We'll have to put it in the show notes, as they say. But I'm gonna look it up because it's this Robert Klosky just wrote about this, like the illusion of free choice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, but like, I gotta ask you something. You make choices all day long. You think about things.
It feels like I did.
Oh, wow. It's fascinating. Okay. Say more about this.
So that's actually that's why I live.
Is the illusion.
I believe something is true, and then I don't live in accordance with it. I really believe that that's the way, like, when I sit with it, and like in philosophy, it is kind of a crisis. And philosophers have been scrambling to try to figure out how do they haven't found a really good way, a logically coherent way to refute determinism. So then they do they contort other things to try to save free will. Like, it's called compatibilism. They'll say, okay, well, freedom isn't the ability to do whatever you want at any point in time, think whatever you want, feel whatever you want. Freedom is just the ability to act in accordance with your beliefs, emotions, etc., right? And so as long as you act in accordance with the way you experience yourself to be in the moment, then you're exercising freedom. And had you been a different person and wanted to do something other than what you did, you would have had the freedom to do that too. To me, that just sounds like, like it's redefining freedom in a way that tries to rescue it from this thing called determinism that just completely took it out at the knees. So what it ends up looking like for me is my brain is not designed to understand how the universe works or proceeds.
Mm.
I can think about it, and logically, determinism makes sense. Eventually, I don't feel like it's true. In my day-to-day moments, I don't feel as if though I am not choosing. But there are little experiments you can, do to notice that free will is compromised. Like a really clear example, I don't know if you've run into this one. Think of an animal. What animal did you think of?
Javelina.
How did you come to choose the javelina?
No idea. I think there's something in your background that reminds me of javelina noses. It's that thing in the back that's a skull. That just
the
looked like
little coyote head. Yeah.
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 I think that's where I got it from.
Got it. So what you didn't do is run through an entire list of all the possible animals you could choose from and consciously choose an animal. It just popped into your head and you're like, cool, this one, I'll go with that. And I'm curious, had you come across that experiment before, or you kind of that little like,
No,
okay.
no.
So, and this happens all the time in our lives. Thoughts pop up and we have no control over which thoughts are popping up or why. And if we had free will, we would be able to choose what we think about and when and why. And like, we just don't. So what Robert Sapolsky and other,
That's who I'm talking about.
Mhm, yep.
I don't know what kind of name
So-
I made up. Yeah,
I think
him.
you were close.
That's the guy.
And what-
I think I was about to say Robert Ludlum, and I was like, nope, 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 nope,
Yeah,
nope, nope.
yeah.
That guy wrote different
This-
books.
This is my obsession, so I know about
Okay, good.
him and his work. But like, you know, Sam Harris will also bring this forward. A lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
modern
yeah.
day individuals will say like, you don't have free will in the way your mind works. And I feel like they are on the right track, but they're not quite there yet because they don't go so far as to say literally nothing could have happened other than the way it did. The moment you get to that point, then you get to like, well, what's the point of anything? Like, it's meaningless to think about choice. It's meaningless to think about preference. It's meaningless to plan. Sayings like, I did my best are literally just gibberish.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have done
You just
anything
did.
other than
You
what
just
you
did.
did, right? Like shit just happens. And the only reason shit happens is because of what happened right before it. Has nothing to do with your sense of agency or free will or morality or ethics or any of that, right? So that is why I believe certain things are true.
Mhm.
But to live my life as that is like, my brain's not designed to live that way.
Yeah. So like the know better, do better. You know, when people like they learn a new thing and they're like, oh shoot, I want to live a different way. That is in this theory that would be like, yes, of course you do, because you just learned about that thing, and then also the concept of know better, do better, and you're like, oh, okay, therefore, like the
I'm not
idea
sure.
that there are so I don't know, and through coaching, right? You like learn things and you're like, I want to live life differently. I want to set down some of my armor about like all my emotions or just like the stories I'm telling myself. Like, it's scary, but I want to make this change, a habit
Mhm.
change. It's hard, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to decide to try it. In the world in which I live before you had shared this theory, I would say like, yes, autonomy, human, like, yes, go and do that thing. That makes sense. This is how I understand humans to be. As I'm hearing you say that, what I'm hearing you say is the theory would say, yeah, of course, that person decided to do that thing because the event right prior to the decision was learning about something that aligned with them, that felt good for them. And like, yeah, they're going to do that now. But not everybody does that just because they learn about it, right? Like knowledge isn't everything. But there must be other causes and conditions that set the right stage for that habit to happen, as opposed to like somebody else who didn't have the right causes and conditions who also learned about that thing was like, not for me, not now. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
The entirety of your life and the existence you're in leads to whatever comes next in your life. So it's, you know, how you ended up seeing the world, thinking, feeling, your habits, your parents, the place you live, all of these things, right? And so everything in reality leads to you doing what you do and knowing what you know. And so the concept of know better, better is a relative word. And so then it's like better, know better than what you knew in the past. Okay, sure. Yeah. Like you could objectively think that's better than what I knew in the past. Do better. better than you did in the past? Sure. The point where it becomes nonsensical is you will end up knowing what you end up knowing. And you couldn't
Yeah.
have learned or known anything other than what you know and have learned to this point. Couldn't have looked any other way. And you couldn't have done anything other than what you've done. Moving forward, it will look some way. No way of knowing what that's going to be. But when you get there, there's nothing that you could have done other than what you did.
It brings a lot of peace. I know, like, if I believe that we are meant for anything, it is that we are meant to live in peace. And just bringing that theory that you just shared up feels like it's the DBT causes and conditions, like dialectical behavioral therapy, causes and conditions. Like things happen because there were so many things going on in your environment. And like from a dialectical behavioral therapy perspective, you blew your lid because things were happening. Causes and conditions led you there. And then, what does the wise mind tell us is going to come next? And it sounds like this aligns with a lot of the ways we think about just not so much tried our best, but like we did what we did at the time with what we knew, what we had, and what was happening.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've thought about it for so long that I notice the entirety of, or the vast majority of the thoughts and beliefs we hold as humans are held from the perspective of what it is like to be a human being and think and feel and as a human being. And so determinism would say whether this brings you peace or not, it couldn't have happened any other way.
Yeah. This feels like there will be a podcast that I would love to have with you about this plus morality. This.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no, I'm just saying like, yeah, it also takes morality out of the knees. Like if you don't have free will, then how do you hold anybody responsible for anything they did?
Not that I'm a big fan of the criminal justice system, but like how does it, how do we, this is not a philosophy to run our criminal justice system by, but like it interacts with the world. I don't know. There's so many angles to it. It's fascinating.
Well, and also like the criminal justice system couldn't have turned out any other way than it did. Right. So that is right. But like, that is where the human brain is like, doesn't fucking compute. And like the gears get jammed up. And so you can recognize this as being a theory that is really freaking airtight, but it's incompatible with the way we experience our lives on a day-to-day basis. And so you have to set it aside. I almost treat it as like a really fun thought experiment that may be more true than the life I'm living, but I still have to live my own life.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about like lessons learned, I mean, I was just reading this book about how Nazi sympathizers became to be Nazi sympathizers and just like the slow turn by turn, it's the frog boiling in a pot of water thing. And how you go from like just your average Joe to fully supporting the Nazi movement. You don't even notice it. And how we can look back on that and say like, yeah, there were red flags. There were things that you decided to not pay attention to just ignore. That no, this wasn't inevitable. This wasn't like, but then we've got determinism. More to come.
It is a really tricky exercise of holding to contradictory things as true in one's mind at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious.
This has been fascinating. Yeah.
Circling back to your concept of a friendly universe. Where do you sit with that now? We live in a friendly universe. Given this conversation, what are you walking away with, or how has it changed?
I'm not on board with determinism yet, but I see it. Like I get where it's coming from. My brain hasn't gotten there yet. The friendly universe thing, I'm still, I'm just actually looking. I've got probably like 12 years ago, I wrote a mission statement for myself. and it's on my wall. And the first line is live and inspire others to join me in a positive response to the human condition that outlasts cynicism, apathy, fear, and judgment. And that's still what I believe is like, I will have a positive response to the vagaries of the human condition. And I would love people to join me, and I will set the conditions such that that is possible.
Mhm.
And I will do that without just like devolving into cynicism, into just fear and judgment and apathy, which are the features of a life that downward spiral and bring people down with you. Like this is we are social creatures, and we respond to other people's blah, blah. It'll come down with you. Um, I Yeah, I'm really comfortable with the sense that like there's no purpose other than this is one big group project where like you just want to leave the planet a little bit better than you found it. You want to leave people around you better than they found you. And like upward spiral with each other, which is like okay, so it feels a little happy, corny, da 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 da. But that is what gets me out of bed every day, for sure. Like if I have a purpose, it's that of just like today, I want to bring joy and beauty and peace into the world a little bit more than yesterday, and I want to receive it as well. And I want to put myself in places where that happens because I am meant to live in peace. That's what I got.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. How are you with your own like soup of determinism and uncertainty and friendliness in the universe?
Yeah, I think my big picture takeaway is from the perspective of we live in an indifferent, chaotic, meaningless universe. um, Objectively, big picture, if that's true, then each of us has to figure out how to live a life that feels worthwhile in that
Hmm.
context. And we all go to different ways of looking at our lives and belief systems, and we use those to create meaning because we are experiencing beings with emotions, and usually what we're doing is in service of having more positive emotions and less negative ones. um I think recognizing that we are all doing our best at that allows me to give people a lot of leeway and see them as like, yeah, we're all just like floundering in meaningless chaos, trying to do something that feels worthwhile. And when you live in a universe that is indifferent, and when you take a step back and maybe set your stories aside, feels meaningless and it's frustrating, and the way your brain works is incompatible with understanding like the fundamental principles of the universe, anger is a very reasonable response, or depression, or checking out, or living in fear, or denial. So noticing when people do that, that's the muscle I'm building right now, is instead of being like,
Mm.
don't fucking bring your dogma to our relationship as if it's the truth because you're not seeing me, to instead, as my old coach used to say, she kind of notices when people do something that doesn't make sense to her, and she just goes, oh, that's how they do that. Oh,
Mm.
that's their version of this.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So, and to understand that, yeah, like they came to have a life that is different from mine, with different belief systems, and like it's unreasonable for me to expect them to see things my way, and it's unreasonable for me to expect that they would behave in the way that I think they should. So I think it's that it's a different level of letting go, and not letting go at the metaphysical, how does the universe work, I need certainty level, but letting go at the I wish people were different than they are level. Yeah, I think that's what I'm leaning into right now.
It's great. This feels like a nice time to start wrapping up this
Sure.
conversation.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I've got a story to like end us with. The like balance between, I don't know, the big capital F force and the big universe and the friendliness and sort of the things are meant for you and just like science. Just it is what it is and chaos is chaos and da da da. I there are a lot of bears. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even start with that statement. I have run into bears.
There are a lot of bears.
There are a lot of bears. I have run into bears. I live in Rhode Island on a sod farm. We grow grass. The other people, they're here. The grass growers. I happen to live next to them. Last year, I was on a walk, quarter mile from civilization, on the grass fields, and I turned the corner and there's a black bear, like munching away at something. Looked at me, and I was like, "I don't remember what you're supposed to do. Do you run? Do you walk? Do you back away? Do you run forward? I mean, I don't know." So I walked away until I could run away, and then circle around. I drop my kids off at camp, and I'm driving, and out of friggin' nowhere, bear runs across in front of my car. And I was like, what are the odds? And there was another car that was coming down the road, and we both had to stop and let this like graceful, very fast bear just right across. And at the time, I had been for a while, like really interested in learning about Native American spirituality. I had just read this cool like book about the 12 moons and different things. And I was like, bears. And I was like, oh my God, that bear I saw last time was in June too. What is it about June and bears and me? Never mind that this bear is in a heavily populated area, like had run into a lot of people, like hello main character syndrome. Like this was sent for me. Like I really was like, what? For a while. What is the message? And then I was like, wait a minute. Googled. The most active season for bears is June, when they're mating and looking for food. And like the most bear sightings ever are in June. And like lots of other people saw this bear. I was like, okay, Kim. And so what I took from this experience was I know what bear means. And I was like, maybe I just in this moment, I'm going to be reminding myself like a little nudge of like, oh, that reminded me to be a little more courageous. That reminded me to be a little bit more, actually, in the bear is rest. That's what it symbolizes is like hibernation and rest. And I was like, do I need to rest and be courageous? Yep, I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I got from it.
Yeah.
A little
I love that.
mix.
Yeah. I have a bear tattoo.
Wow. What is that?
Because it's a bear tattoo. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Because why?
Because
why?
because
Yeah.
bears are a great reminder to know when it's time to rest and recover so that you can come back strong.
Courage.
And to like life does this, right? You go through highs and lows, and the bear's representative of the necessity for the lows, for the rest, for slowing down. So yeah, right there with you. It's
That's awesome. Oh, that's a really great way to wrap this up. I'm so glad
And
that
also,
we have to learn more about the other tattoos.
Oh, sure. Yeah. In time.
And also what?
Also, who knows if that's fucking true? Like both.
I know. But like if you want to choose to think about that, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Totally.
Do it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Took a nap that day.
Useful or true?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, friend.
Okay.
And say goodnight.
Yeah.
Tell our fans. To our millions of followers.
I know.
My influencer life.
We sorry, we haven't even launched the podcast yet, so I'll let you know when we got them.
Cool. Keep on that data.
Okay.
All right. Night. See ya.
Perfect.
Bye.